So once again, I was going to do something else today, but then I made the wise decision to check my Discord DMs, and my longtime helper Evolve sent me one warning me that there'd be a Hasbro stream on Tuesday. So I held off writing my script, and now I have one day to go from 0 to 100 on this video. Always stressful, but in this case, necessary. So let's take a look at what was just announced, and a little bit beyond that too. But first, your likes! Please give, maybe subscribe. So the first thing that they showed off is the 86 Megatron, and I do have some stuff to say about this, as when I did my news demands on it, it was largely dominated by me admitting that I was wrong and explaining why it wasn't hard for me to have done so. So for the record, in robot mode, this is pretty impressive. There are some serious visual deficiencies, like the helmet is wrong despite the face being pretty right, the forearms are giant and baggy, as are the legs, but I don't really begrudge them that. What I do, however, completely begrudge them is the fusion cannon, which looks like it was drawn from memory by someone who's only ever picked up a pencil for the first time in their entire lives today. Both the proportions and the shape are horribly wrong, and it doesn't seem to serve a function in the alt mode to be built like this. It's just wrong because they did it wrong. Personally, I'm not too bothered by the paint on the legs though. Is this shade the color it was in the movie? No. But as I've said before, this is not and can never be an 86 Megatron. It's a fine Age of the Primes Megatron and I'll be happy to buy it. But so long as it has the wrong alt mode, it's not the thing from the movie. And I get a lot of pushback on that because people are like, how can you say that? You're just being petty. But if this was an Optimus Prime who turned into an F-22 Raptor and was put in the 07 Studio Series, we wouldn't even be having this argument. It's only because people have decided that it's okay to change Megatron's alt mode all the time that something flagrantly wrong being sold to us as something it simply is not isn't considered weird. Again, this looks like a fine Megatron, if a bit off in some dimensions, and probably needing a different cannon. I'll pick it up gladly. It's just not the thing that they're saying that they're selling. Though the alt mode is very rough, and I don't know why they bothered with the barrel of the gun that Megatron doesn't turn into. It should look like this, not that. Then they are re-releasing the 86 Grimlock in its original colors. Finally. How did it take them like 5 damn years? People have been dying for this for so long, and it's still coming with wheelie. Hasbro, you are aware that no one wants that thing, right? It's just trash that you're shipping in the box with it. Like, I'd be happier if he didn't come and wasn't replaced by anything. Like, the box could be down an accessory and it'd just be better for it. And it'd also be way cooler if you just replace him with Grimlock's sword instead, but whatever. This is still good news. Grimlock can finally be bees. Giving it new box art is at least a good idea. Then there's War for Cybertron Thundercracker. And I'm sure that this makes some people happy, but this is still my most hated Starscream design of all time. Yes, I mean that. I do actually hate this more than the movie design. It is a complete, violent eyesore to me. So forever not something that I'm going to bother with, but I'm glad for you if you want this. Then they showed off who's looking to currently be the best of the Constructicons. And also, yeesh, that box art. My man, what did they do to your face? You look like what if Robert Zadar started melting. I will say that it is still super offensive that this is a Voyager. It's the size of a deluxe. It's got a 15-step transformation. I mean, come on, guys. There's no argument to be made here other than you just like money. By every definition, this is a deluxe. But this at least looks new, and it looks good. Mostly. The arms are a little ropey. But if the rest of them look this good, I don't think I'd be so unhappy with this entire set. And then you can see proof that this is a deluxe in the next picture, because it is photographed right next to one of the other Constructicons who is actually being sold as a deluxe, as he should be. And I'll be honest, looking at Scavenger more over time, he does look like they made a few more changes to Scavenger than they did Scrapper. Like that crotch section seems to be completely new, though most of the rest of the body is looking seriously familiar to me. But at least they seem to have put even a fraction more work into designing this than they did the Scrapper. Though that upper body still looks to be the exact same, and he's still hollower than Sin. And the reason why it matters that he is a retool, and I don't care if you don't agree with the definition of retool that I use, you still know exactly what I'm saying, you aren't confused. But it matters that these are retools because they are giving you no value for your money. What are we paying for? Because they're small, they're overpriced, they're underposable, they have serious visual issues, their transformations are super basic, their combined mode has problems, and with some of them, their alt modes aren't even good or accurate at all. All the while, most of their engineering was figured out a decade ago. What are we paying so much money for when there's nothing new here, and these aren't even living up to the standard of a normal deluxe, while most of these are being charged Voyager price for or almost leader price for. Normal deluxes pose better than this, have more complex transformations than these, have less waffling, more convincing alt modes, have more new engineering, and cost less. Where the fuck is our money going on this set? Because it is not to a single aspect of the figures themselves. I don't say this lightly. Every figure in Combiner Wars that wasn't a retool had more effort put in than these do. Also, I just grabbed my Combiner Wars one from storage and yep, that's definitely the same torso. Then we finally have confirmation that they are still releasing Studio Series Transformers 1 Aelita. And while this isn't accurate as much of the Studio Series has failed to be for this movie up to this point, it is at least any representation of her at all, and it doesn't look half bad. But next to Starscream, and there's like no comparison. Starscream actually looks accurate and more complex too. I'm unsure if this is supposed to be a Voyager, but it's the same size as Aelita 1, and there's only a 5-step difference between the two in terms of transformation, so it's probably still a deluxe. So why is this so much more accurate than our pink angry gal? Then there was Widowmaker, who apparently there was an alternate, much less well-known version of her concept art that looked more like this. Still nowhere near 1-to-1, but this at least makes way more sense now. I will say that I've seen people digibash this into Prime Knockout, and it looked almost perfect in just new colors and a different head. So one can hope that this gets retooled into him at some point, or at the very least, Customizers are going to go to town on it. We finally have a reason to actually own Red Knockout. Then Then they showed off their Hearts of Steel figures again, and I'm exactly as super down for these as I ever was. 100% will pick them up when they are available. But then we get to Transformers 1 Arachnid, and holy shit, they cooked with this one, boys. I never thought that this was going to happen. That bitch had a completely insane, spindly-ass robot mode, and an Alvo that somehow both ended up even more spindly and like a complete brick at the same time. I didn't think it'd ever be possible for them to make this character outside of a multi-$100 MP and have it be accurate at all. But damn, they pulled it off. Did they absorb all of 86 Devastator's budget to design this thing or what? Apparently the turbines actually spin in alt mode too. Like guys, this is the kind of flex I like to see from you. This is why I get upsetty spaghetti when you phone stuff in, because I know that you can do amazing work for a reasonable price. Why would I ever be willing to settle for less when I know what you guys can do at the price you sell us stuff at? And this, even in prototype colors, is just top tier work, guys. Why don't the rest of your TF1 Studio Series figures look half this good? A figure that looks almost exactly half this good is Alpha Trion. And that's not an insult, it's just that this design doesn't need to achieve as much since he's not an absolute freak. Even if his alt mode is a laser unicorn tiger, this is looking really solid. For the first time, a figure that came out in the main line that looks way better in its Studio Series format. The Beast mode looks like much less of a brick and is more accurate with an opening and closing mouth. So it seems like Studio Series TF1 might have finally figured out what it's doing. And that's it for the new reveals, but there was a series of leaked listings that I want to go over. Firstly, there is going to be a G2 Colors Sludge and Swoop, like we saw with the recent Slag and Snarl. The only thing that makes me think that maybe this will be worth it is if they fix Sludge's knees. That way, the best figure in the set can finally live up to himself. Otherwise, I ain't interested in bad color Sludge and cool colors on the terrible 86 Swoop. They are making a deluxe class Quick Strike, and I could not be happier. Yes, the character was a loser in Beast Wars, but as a kid, I didn't realize that, so he was always super awesome to me, loved this character and loved this design. Quintus Prime is going to be a deluxe, and while we knew that he was going to happen, I think probably everyone expected this wild-ass design was going to get a Voyager, right? How are you going to do all that and do it correctly? I ask as though I didn't just see Arachnid. Voyager class Nexus Prime. I have no idea what this is going to be. It'd be hilarious if it's compatible with Combiner Wars figures or what have you, because like, how can you do a guy whose whole thing is combining in Voyager scale when the modern Combiner ethos has been to make every limb basically unique in its placement on the Combiners and then make the cores Commander class? Could be that maybe he has slots for the limbs that the other ones already do, so those weird shoulder brackets from Menasor and Superion and then the normal Combiner Wars knees like they have. But still, this being a Voyager class raises questions, because currently the core bots have all been Commanders and this isn't even a leader. The last time a core bot was a Voyager was in Power of the Primes. Interested to see this finally revealed whenever that happens. Finally, they are doing the Armada Sideways that we've been expecting for so long, and while I was very confident back when Armada Prowl came out that would be retooled into this guy as way too many details lined up, it has taken them so long to get around to him that I'm wondering if this will actually be something new. Though the size class is proof of nothing. You know that if he comes with too many cons, they will absolutely sell us a deluxe and just call that a Voyager. Razorclaw. I have my Tiger Hawk and I'm happy. Though that thing did rock so hard, I could pretty easily be motivated to pick it up either way. And wait, is that the real thing or a Digibash? If it is one, then damn, probably the best looking Digibash of all time. Leader class Big Convoy. Surprised it's not got a different name, but not surprised to see it. I know at least one person who will be thrilled with this, and I assume it's probably going to be pretty cool. Voyager Animated Wreck-Gar. What do you think the odds are that this will be a retool of Trashmaster? I think they're pretty high. It's mostly just the backpack that would need to change for him to make sense. Though I would love to be proven wrong, and they have done a pretty good job on the animated guys so far, mostly giving them their own molds. Animated Ratchet. Nothing is coming to my mind what this could be retooled out of, so I'll go out on a limb and say that this is all new, unless they make this out of the Earthrise Hoist mold, which would kind of suck. Onslaught. We obviously knew that this was coming, though we don't know what it's going to look like at this stage, other than largely G1. Same can be said for Brawl, Blastoff, and Swindle, who somehow manages to be a Voyager, so I can at least hope that this set will be less parts formery than the Superion and Menasor, and let these guys actually become the legs rather than just decorate them. Though they better get the alt mode right this time, I don't want to see Swindle turn into a weird dune buggy again. Deluxe Power Glide. Finally. As a kid, I never saw any of the episodes with Power Glide in them before I got the DVDs, but he was always in the end credits and I always wanted to actually see him in the show. So this is a character I've had a weird connection to all my life that makes me want a good chug version of him. Swerve is obviously going to be a retool of the absolutely killer Gears mold, so this will be fun. But the question is, G1 or IDW? Smokescreen. Now that's interesting. Maybe it's the Prime version. Hopefully whatever it is, it's not just going to be a re-release of the terrible ER mold, famous for its horrid QC and breakage issues. And lastly, Sure Shot. I got nothing. Barely know who this guy is, but I assume that he's probably going to get retooled out of the Ruckus retool from the Beachcomber. I might be wrong, but that seems likely. I'm excited to get a look at each of these whenever they are actually revealed. Most of them seem really cool, and a lot of them have my imagination on fire. And then the reveals from this one are mostly really good. There are a few things in there that I flat out don't want, but will buy anyways for my show, like the Constructicons outside of Mixmaster, but most of this stuff looks really solid. And just damn on the Arachnid. They went so hard on her, and I don't think that anyone expected them to after most of the Studio Series figures from that movie were disappointing compared to their mainline equivalents. And before we go, let's thank a channel backer. And this time it's Turtle Dude with Jinbao Upgrade Kit Devastator. And yeah, I totally get it. I don't like the normal Jinbao version, it's just way too stylized and puffy for me. I have very specific Devastator needs, and it just looks so wrong. But with the Upgrade Kit, it becomes something I've been very tempted to grab more than once. But like, where would I put something that big when I already want to get the MMC version? Though honestly, this is so cheap that I could probably buy 5 of this version before I could afford 1 of the MMC, which is another great selling point of this. It looks good while costing the least of any Devastator. A very solid pick. And that's not half what I have to say, but it's enough what I have to say. And I know, you know, what everyone else tells you to do at the end of these videos. So, if you liked what you saw here, please do that. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please share this video with any friend you think may be interested. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.